Mabuhay everyone! Ako nga pala si Jerwin Kawilan and kamusta? Sana okay lang kayo? So, ang pag-uusapan natin ngayong video for today's video ay ang tungkol sa law and order that save the biodiversity of the Philippines. So, bago magsimula, I want to present to you a video about why biodiversity is so important. Ito po.
Our planet's diverse, thriving ecosystems may seem like permanent fixtures, but they're actually vulnerable to collapse. Jungles can become deserts, and reefs can become lifeless rocks, even without cataclysmic events like volcanoes and asteroids. What makes one ecosystem strong and another weak in the face of change? The answer, to a large extent, is biodiversity. Biodiversity is built out of three intertwined features: ecosystem diversity, species diversity, and genetic diversity. The more intertwining there is between these features, the denser and more resilient the weave becomes. Take the Amazon rainforest, one of the most biodiverse regions on Earth due to its complex ecosystems, huge mix of species, and the genetic variety within those species. Here are tangled liana vines, which crawl up from the forest floor to the canopy, intertwining with treetops and growing thick wooded stems that support these towering trees. Helped along by the vines, trees provide the seeds, fruits, and leaves to herbivores such as the tapir and the agouti, which disperse their seeds throughout the forest so they can grow. Leftovers are consumed by the millions of insects that decompose and recycle nutrients to create rich soil. The rainforest is a huge system filled with many smaller systems like this, each packed with interconnected species. Every link provides stability to the next, strengthening biodiversity's weave. That weave is further reinforced by the genetic diversity within individual species, which allows them to cope with changes. Species that lack genetic diversity due to isolation or low population numbers are much more vulnerable to fluctuations caused by climate change, disease, or habitat fragmentation. Whenever a species disappears because of its weakened gene pool, a knot is untied, and parts of the net disintegrate. So, what if we were to remove one species from the rainforest? Would the system fall apart? Probably not. The volume of species, their genetic diversity, and the complexity of the ecosystems form such rich biodiversity in this forest that one species gap in the weave won't cause it to unravel. The forest can stay resilient and recover from change. But that's not true in every case. In some environments, taking away just one important component can undermine the entire system. Take coral reefs, for instance. Many organisms in a reef are dependent on the coral. It provides key microhabitats, shelter, and breeding grounds for thousands of species of fish, crustaceans, and mollusks. Corals also form interdependent relationships with fungi and bacteria. The coral itself is a loom that allows the tangled net of biodiversity to be woven. That makes coral a keystone organism, one that many others depend on for their survival. So what happens when destructive fishing practices, pollution, and ocean acidification weaken coral or even kill it altogether? Exactly what you might think. The loss of this keystone species leaves its dependents at a loss too, threatening the entire fabric of the reef. Ecosystem, species, and genetic diversity together form the complex tangled weave of biodiversity that is vital for the survival of organisms on Earth. We humans are woven into this biodiversity too. When just a few strands are lost, our own well-being is threatened. Cut too many links, and we risk unraveling it all. What the future brings is unpredictable, but biodiversity can give us an insurance policy, Earth's own safety net, to safeguard our survival.
So, you know why biodiversity is important. Hindi lang sa Pilipinas, di ba? O hindi, globally. Dapat globally, hindi lang sa Pilipinas, no? So, let's go naman sa Philippine Biodiversity Law. There are many different laws in order in the Philippines yet. The law are never forget, preserving the wellness and the betterment of the Philippines, the nature. These laws are made by various people and many of them are implemented yet others are not implemented. So, about sa research ko is napansin ko ay sobrang dami ng law. These are example. Executive number 247, prescribing the guidelines and establish a regulatory framework for the prospecting and biological genetic resources, thereby product and derivatives for scientific and commercial purpose and other purpose. So, meron pa. Hindi lang po iisa lang ang law natin. The following are example of the law and orders that benefit the preservation of the Philippine biodiversity. So, ang unang-una is ang Act number 2590, an act for the protection of the game and fish, and also RA 7308, an act to promote and develop the seed industry in the Philippines and create a national seed industry council and for other purpose. So, meron pa RA 7586 for National Integrated Protection of Area System of Act of 1992, and also RA 7611 Strategic Environmental Plan for Palawan Act. So, meron pa, marami pa yan. RA 7900 High Value Crops Development Act of 1995 and RA 7942 Philippine Mining Code. Also, RA 8371 recognizing the right of the indigenous culture communities, also indigenous people. So, also RA 9147 Wildlife Protection, and also RA 8485 Promote Animal Welfare in the Philippines. So, sobrang dami. Meron pa PD 1433 Plan Quarantine Decree of the 1978. Also, PD 1586 Environmental Impact System Law. So, and also meron pa EO 192 Recognition of the DENR and Proc number 926 Establish Subic Western House Forest Reserve. And also last, DAO or 02 Establishing the Protection of our Ancestral Homeland. So, ayun po yung law natin, and
It's time for Jerwin Trivia. Sama niyo.
trivia, alam niyo ba, ang biodiversity ng Pilipinas ay isa pinaka magkakaiba at kakaiba sa mundo dahil marami laman ang makikita sa bansa. Ang mayamang biodiversity na ito ay nagbibigay ng milyong-milyong pagkukunan at serbisyo ng mga Pilipino para sa pagkain, gamot, mga produkto gawa sa kahoy, halaman, gayon din ang mga breeding stock and both sa iba. So, napapansin nyo is pagbibili kayo ng gamot is minsan organic, di ba? Hindi galing sa China o sa ibang bansa. So, ganun kayaman po ang biodiversity ng Pilipinas. So, ayun lamang po. So, Merry Christmas! 사랑해요.
누가 짤까? 하나, 둘, 셋. 안녕하세요, 스트레이키즈입니다. 혹시 아니?
산타가 아니잖아!
Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad. I can feel the evil coming, but Felix never